Hi, I'm Hillary and welcome to Stitch in the Hills. This is Flosstube number 1 and I'm a little nervous, but this channel is all about cross stitch. And so today, because it's my first Flosstube, I'm going to spend a little bit of time with you sharing a little bit about me, sharing some of my earliest finished objects, and these date back 20 years to when I was in high school, so they're old. And then I'm going to go into a little bit of how I got into cross stitching most recently and a few of my current WIPs. It's going to be a very, very short WIP parade because I only have 3 WIPs. And then I'll talk about some current plans and what's next. So, first of all, I got into cross stitch back when I was in high school. I had a Girl Scout leader that taught us embroidery, and because of that, I ultimately got into cross stitch. And I always, when taking on a project, I tend to go big or go home. So, this is the first cross stitch project I completed that I still have. So, let's get the ring light reflection a little bit of I can't avoid the ring light reflection. I'm trying. So this is my very first project. I got it from a book. Let's see. Maybe if I hold it like that. Aha! Figured out how to hold it. Okay, so I got this out of a book called Art Nouveau in Cross Stitch, and yes, I realize it's not cross stitch, it's black work, but it's still counted thread work, and so that works. And you can see she's a big girl. I decided to go for the pretty ladies as my first project. Usually people don't do that. And I worked so hard on her, and she includes Krynic and beads and all those things that usually wait for more advanced people. Speaking of Krynic, since I started watching Flosstube about a year ago, I found out it was called Krynic. I always thought it was Kranic. So if I ever say Krynic instead of Krynic, that is why. I've been calling it Krynic for the last 20 years. So this was as I said, this was my first project. She hangs in my dining room, and I just love her to bits. A lot of the projects from when I was in high school, I didn't quite know what to do with them, so they ended up getting discarded, unfortunately, when I moved out of my parents' house. But I do have one other project that dates to that time. It's right here. It's this little box. I don't remember anything about the pattern. It was a very easy stitch. I know that. I did a lot of it while I was babysitting in the evenings. It was a fun stitch, and it's a little, as I said, it's a little jewelry box. And I still use it. It's still on my nightstand, and I like it. It's a nice big box, and it's a pretty design, and the colors look good. And I had a lot of fun making it. One cool thing about it is all the stitches go the same way. And I just noticed a piece of dog hair from my childhood dog, so there's a little Sparky in here. But all the stitches do go the same way. I really worked on that. And I actually entered this one in our local fair and got some kind of ribbon for it. I think I got like a 2nd or 3rd place in the kids category because I was a kid at the time. But yeah, I completed both of these, as I said, when I was in high school. So a very, very long time ago. I still have some of the threads from back then. Oh, I did the scissor swap back when I was in high school too. This was a Mill Hill kit. It's quite pretty. So that's kind of fun. Mill Hill doesn't do Swarovski crystals anymore, but they did back then. So this is kind of nice. But I got out of cross stitch after high school. I went through a knitting phase. I made a lot of Afghans, but I was really focused on academics. I ended up getting a history degree, history of war, revolution, and social change, in part because I was so inspired by women's movements and learning all about the impact that needlework and craft has had on social change and politics. It's fascinating. It's really good stuff, and I'll probably be going into that a little bit in this channel because I love history. I think history is so important, and there's the quote, those who don't learn about history are doomed to repeat it. And we see that so much in today's world. It's like, please, let's learn about history. And we can definitely talk about needlework and its impact on history and how it's provided a political outlet for many people throughout history. It's so interesting. Anyway, so at the beginning, related to history and school and all that, at the beginning of the pandemic, I was living in a really little apartment, and I was finishing up my last semester in graduate school. So I was working on my master's in public administration. So I didn't have a lot of time. I was just frantically working and then just working on my thesis after I finished working. So there wasn't really much in the way of time. But after I graduated in May of 2020, I suddenly had all this time and I was still stuck at home. So I didn't know what to do with myself. So I ended up at a thrift shop where I picked up this book, Secret Garden and Cross Stitch. So many, back when I got into cross stitch in high school, my only source for patterns were books. I didn't realize that patterns and designers existed. It was just like, okay, let's go to Borders. At the time it was Borders. Buy some cross stitch books. Go to the local needlework shop, because we had one in my city at that time. We don't anymore, unfortunately. It closed. I don't know when it closed. It must have closed when I wasn't living here. Buy the DMC threads and buy the Ada. Everything was on Ada back then. So things have really changed. But anyway, I bought this book. And when things opened up in July, I was like, okay, I'm going to get everything kitted up and I'm going to make a project in this book. So I bought all the materials to do the gladioli pattern, the red one. And I was so excited to do it. It was like, yes, I can cross stitch again. This is going to be great, etc., etc. And then, of course, what happens when you go to grad school? You get a promotion. And so I ended up being really focused on work and having to put this project aside while I worked on this new job in this new role that I was really excited to take. So if people wonder, is grad school worth it? For me, it was. It got me an amazing job. So I worked and worked and worked, and I was like, okay, come like November, December, I'll pick up the stitching again. Well, come November, December, I had decided that I was tired of living in my little apartment. It was time to buy a house. So I was focused on house shopping and mortgages and offers and things along those lines. And I went through, with the real estate market today, I went through several rounds of putting in offers on houses until I finally got my house. And I moved into my house in March. And then after I moved into my house in March, I was just like, okay, I can pick up cross stitch again. But no, my house needed all this work and unpacking, and I'm still not unpacked. I still don't have books on my shelf, but I have a few. But I always admire the books in the background of like Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World on Flosstube, and yeah, I was going to wait until I had that set up. It's such a not priority, so I'm getting my Flosstube going now. So I was like, yes, I can start stitching again. I ended up subscribing to Black Needle Society. So it's like, okay, cross stitch stuff arriving in my mail every single month. I'm going to start stitching again. And I got focused on house stuff. And then in June, I went to this amazing estate sale. I was there to buy a table and chairs because I needed a table and chairs. But they had all this cross stitch stuff. So I picked up this huge box, including like about 100 prairie schooler patterns, like old prairie schoolers, and some mirabilias. I picked up, I think I put it in this pile. I got Santa's Magic by Mirabilia. I think it's in my pile of other Mirabilias. I ended up picking up like Santa's Magic by Mirabilia and all these other amazing cross-stitch patterns. And I got one of those big DMC thread drawers and just Needlework System 4. I mean, this estate sale had everything, and I was so grateful to pick it up for super cheap and affordable and something I could use. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start cross-stitching again. This is going to be great. Stick it in my office room. This is my office room. And then about a week later, I broke my foot. So it was like, okay, I'll start to do a little bit of stitching as I'm sitting on the sofa. So I did a little bit of stitching. It's hard when you're laying on the sofa in a lot of pain. I broke 3 metatarsals, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So all the ones in the middle of my foot, my right foot, so I can't drive right now. And I was like, okay, this is my excuse. I'm going to start stitching again. So I started stitching again, and I was picking it up and putting it down. I wasn't really getting as into it as I wanted to. I think when I show you the WIPS, you'll understand why. It was a bit of a difficult project for somebody picking up their first project after a number of years, even though obviously, given my fancy lady, I've gone big before. So I did that, and then watching a lot of Flosstube as I laid on the sofa, ordering a lot of stuff. I kept on saying, oh, I'll get into cross stitch if I order this or if I order that. So I ordered all these mirabilias and all the bead packages that went with them and all the fancy fabrics. I'd never seen hand-dyed fabrics before, so it was very exciting. But it just didn't, I don't know. I just didn't really get as into it as I wanted to. And a few weeks ago, I entered the contest on Michelle Bendy Stitchy's Flosstube, and I won. So this is what I won. So this is Monthly Mania March by Cecilia Turner from Heart and Hands Needle Arts. I was like, okay, if I won something from Michelle Bendy, I've got to make it. So it's I haven't kitted it up yet, but I will. But the thing is about Michelle Bendy and Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World and the 2 Martini Stitcher, those are the kinds of floss tubers that have been speaking to me over the last year and a bit since the pandemic and since I started watching Flosstube, because these are people who realize that stitching is a political act and who are progressive and who don't make this into this conservative old lady hobby, which is what I had thought of it as being. And I was always a little embarrassed to be crafty, but it's like, okay, if these girls can do it, these people are cool and they have the similar views to what I do, it's like, okay, I can do this. So around that time I decided to start stitching again. So I'll go through a few of my WIPs here. I subscribed in an interim, moment of weakness, to Rika King's House of Stitch and Stash project bags. So I have a whole bunch of these. These are amazing. I like them because they're big and they hold a Q-snap well. So we'll start off with my failed WIP. I started this back in May, June. A local craft store had a whole bunch of kits on sale, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this kit and I'm gonna make it. So this is Artiste Mini Fox. Here's the little picture of it. It's cute. It's not really my style, but it's small, so I thought, okay, I can get this done, and I started it. Here's my start. But the issue was this section was supposed to be done in half crosses, so I'm gonna run out of thread. So I'm not sure what to do with this project because it was my first back into cross stitch project. Well, I did make a bookmark last summer, which is in a box because I moved. Not sure where it went. But this was my first like back into cross stitch project of this round, so I'm not quite sure what to do with it, but I don't think I'm gonna finish it. So if you have any ideas about what to do with these, let me know, because I genuinely have no idea what to do with this project. Other WIPs. So this was my second WIP. And I'm getting there with this one. Oh, there goes. That's a corner gauge. So this is my second WIP. A lot harder than I thought it would be. I thought, oh, single colored pattern. This is going to be great. I almost started with a long dog. I'm really, really glad I didn't. But this is Ink Circles Half the Fun. It came in a Black Needle Society box. Oh gosh, March, April, somewhere around then. I am using DMC 115. And I'm just using one strand, which kind of, well, it economizes, but it kind of makes it so that you can really see the stitches, which I like. And for fabric, I am using Zweigart 18 count Rustico Ada. So that's what this is. And I've traveled all over the world before I decided to settle down and, you know, get a job and house and all that other junk. So I have a wonderful gallery wall of travel pictures. I think this will go really nicely up there once it's completed. Oh, I got the grime guard from Garon Stitchery. I really enjoy watching the YouTube Sunshine Stitchers channels. That's why I got this grime guard from them. So that's this project. I'm going to talk about my next current WIP, and it was a better introduction to getting back into stitchery than the previous one, which just had so much counting, and I was really struggling. So this is the Moon Phase Bell Pull, and it is by, oh, there we go, it's by Tiny Modernist, and this is where I am so far, and I am having so much fun stitching this. So this piece, yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun stitching it. It's a great, like, in front of the TV. I get out my floor stand and I just stitch away. This piece is going a lot better. This was also my first endeavor onto using any sort of hand-dyed fabrics. So let me get out. I have the thing which tells me what it is. It is, here we go. It's Mayflower Gray from Dames of the Needle from the Cauldron, and I bought it on Etsy. Oh, also something cool about this bag. So let me put this back first of all. This is another, well, it's needlepoint, but it's a finished object that I should show you just because it's really cute. This is my little case that I keep in my needlework pouch. And it's from it's a Stitch and Zip project, and it was super easy and fast to make. And it's all finished, which I like. You literally just like stitch it up like this, and then you just zip your case together. But I use it to hold my scissors, sometimes needles, other things that I need in my project bag. It's just something really easy to grab. Yeah, it's just something really easy to grab. So it works well for me, but that lives in here with that project. So this is the big project I'm working on right now. Oh, I should get your opinion about this. So I was telling you about discovering hand-dyed fabrics, and I'm just like, where has this world been? I don't know. So I ordered 2 patterns from 123 Stitch. I ordered Nora Corbett's Evanora and Nora Corbett's Claire. And yeah, I know they're solid colors. I really need to branch out and start to feel more comfortable doing colorful stitches because I've never really done that, so it's something I need to work on. But anyway, I got these 2 fabrics from Fortnite Fabrics. I ordered them online from Fire Poppies, and I really like them, but I'm just not sure if they'll work. So this is the one I was going to do for Evanora because I was thinking it would be more for like a Galinda kind of image, like in Wicked, but I just think it's too pale. Don't you think it's too pale? I think it's not the right shade of green for her. So I might have to save this. It's a beautiful piece of fabric. I don't know if it'll work for that piece. And I feel the same about the piece that I bought for Claire. How do people buy, oh, and this was Posh, by the way, by Fortnite Fabrics. It's 32 count Lugana. Excuse me. How do people pick out their hand-dyed fabrics online and for these projects, because they always look so amazing, but I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. So this is the one that I got for Claire, and this is Opulent, 32 count Lugana by Fortnite Fabrics. And I just, once again, I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like this would go better for like one of the Mirabilia Pretty Ladies, but I don't know. It's a beautiful piece of fabric. I've never, these hand-dyed fabrics, they just make everything just like pop. They are amazing. And I'm just like, where have these been all my life? Well, correction, I haven't been cross-stitching for 20 years, so who am I to say anything? But, so anyway, I think I bought the wrong colors for those pieces. I'm not sure. I think I need something more green for Evanora. And then for Claire, I just don't know what to do about her. But I bought all the floss. I've bought the bead kits, ready to go. Need to figure out the fabric situation. So I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how people make these decisions anymore. So that's kind of where I am with those. Now I touched on this a little bit. This is something a little different. Going into plans. That was plans too. I just kind of had it mixed in with the WIPS. So going into plans, I was really upset and angry about the recent Supreme Court ruling and what's going on in Texas. I strongly believe in a woman's right to choose and our right to our body, and that everything that you do can be construed as political. The personal is political, and you need to be the change you wish to see in the world. And initially I thought, oh, well, I'll just stitch a hanger, get my anger out by stabbing a piece of fabric a jillion times. It's like, no, it doesn't seem right. So what I think I'd like to do, and I've started kitting it up. I haven't completely kitted it up, but I've seen a lot of people have been making this one lately, and I just think it's time for me. This is Lady Justice by Mirabilia. And I ordered, I haven't even opened this yet. This is We the People by Fabric Flair. And the plan is to stitch Lady Justice on this, because it's all about the preamble to the Constitution and our Bill of Rights and how they're being taken away from us. And I'm just so, I have no words. I just have no words. I have the embellishment pack, so that's been bought. I need to still go buy all the DMC floss. That's going to be interesting. As I mentioned, I broke my foot and I'm not driving right now. And I can get the guy I'm dating to take me to a craft store, but having him wait around as I buy 40 different floss colors, I think would be a little extreme to rely on his patience. So I don't know. I'll figure out what to do about that. But I just feel a need to stitch something, do something. I can't really go out and do any marches or protests right now, so it's the least I can do. It's the least I can do. Another project I was looking at doing, and this one's smaller, more doable. It came from another Black Needle Society box. Is this piece by Stitchrovia, Be Kind Always. I think we need more of that. The ring light's being a little whatever. I think we need a little bit more of that. This has fewer stitches. And the thing I really like about it is you can change the skin tone. There's been a big focus in the stitching community on representation matters. And I just think that is so important and so vital to the way we're doing things right now. So it's an option. I just don't know. I really don't know. I just want to do something. We have a recall election here in California, and of course I will be voting in that. But I just feel I need to do something from a more political standpoint. So that's the best I can do for right now. Yeah, I don't know. This is a huge downer. So, more exciting things. Well, I'll talk a little bit about kind of Flosstube and what's next. I don't have any giveaways like a lot of Flosstubers do. I will. Don't have any of that going on right now. My plan is to do a Flosstube every 3 weeks or every month or so. I'm mainly doing these so that I can force myself to do my projects. I'm a huge project picker-upper, not finisher, and I need to finish things. So this will help me finish things, and it'll also allow me to share what I'm doing with other people. Most of my friends and family kind of think my crafts are a little silly, so sharing with a community that cares about them and is interested and will listen to me ramble on and on, I think is a good thing. So that's kind of my plan with this. Yeah, I'm terrible at any of these things. Let's see. Why don't I just sign off by saying, you know, we're all stitchers, stitching community, and as you stitch, remember the personal is always political, and be the change you wish to see in the world. And those that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, because that's important too. So I've rambled enough, and I've started and stopped this so many times. It's not even funny. I did a whole Flosstube with my ring light off, and then I did a whole Flosstube where I forgot to push record. So this is actually working, even though we had to record it twice. So this is it. Thank you. Thank you for watching me. I know this was a really weird video. They will get better. And be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day.